Welcome to the show, Madam Glynnis Cummings, John.
Thank you so much.
We feel very proud to have you on board on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
Okay, great. So let's start with you telling us about your professional journey. We know you're that established development practitioner. So tell us about your professional journey.
Yeah, sure. So I've always wanted to help people.
Okay.
I always knew I wanted to be in a workspace where I was helping people, and especially coming from a family that is always involved in social and political sciences.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be involved in that. So I did my degree, which is in politics and international relations, and then I finished my degree, and then I realized I couldn't get a job. Because I didn't have any experience to go with the degree.
Okay.
So when I was at university, nobody told me that I should be building up my experience, so by the time I finish, I can actually apply for a job and show that I know how to do the job.
Yeah.
When actually exactly. So that didn't happen. So I did my degree, was enjoying my university, finished, thought that I would get a manager position because I have a degree, but actually it didn't work out like that at all. So I then didn't work for a full year. A whole year I sat at home.
After your graduation?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Applying, but I didn't get anything because I didn't have any experience to prove the knowledge that I gained from my degree.
Right.
So then after a year, someone then advised me that maybe I should start by volunteering. So I volunteered for an organization. And by that time I was so excited to volunteer because I had been sitting at home for a whole year. Okay. I was excited to be part of like a movement, part of a team that was making things happen. Exactly, really, really excited. Even though I wasn't receiving anything except for transport. That's it. I didn't mind because I was getting out of the house and I was learning new things and I was growing based on what people were sharing with me. So I did that for 6 months, and then I was successful in applying for an internship. I did the internship. That again stretched me, really made me grow professionally. And then I gradually started building my career from there. Okay. So I did the volunteering, the internship, then officer, and also became executive assistant, which some people may look down on being somebody's PA, but actually exposed me to all of that person's network.
Right, right.
I was able to learn how to have strategic discussions that push organizations in different ways, learning how to manage risk. Every time I was in the room, I was learning, I was soaking all of it up. And then I had opportunities to go to other countries as well and apply some of my learnings. And one thing as well that I really took on board is grabbing every opportunity that came my way. Anytime someone from a different department said, Glynnis, we have this extra piece of work, can you support? Even if I didn't know how to do it, I would jump, I would say yes, I'll do it, because that would give me an opportunity to learn how to do fundraising, or to learn how to get involved in humanitarian response work, or to learn how to do policy influencing work, or even comms work. Without the job title, without the pay, I was building up my experience and my track record and the confidence in others that yes, Glynnis can get the job done. Right. So that was something that I started doing, and I still do, and has really helped me in my professional journey, because now I can say I can apply for a position because I have been building up my track record and my experience of how to do that along the way. And then I reached a place in my career where I wanted to apply for a manager position, but because I didn't have a master's, I couldn't apply for those higher level positions. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to go and get my master's. Some of my friends, they went and did their master's straight away. I didn't want to, I was tired of studying. So after my bachelor's degree, I was like, I'm done.
You wanted to rest a little,
I want to get some money.
University.
Exactly, I want to go and get some money. So then when I reached that certain level and I realized I need a master's to apply for a higher position, I decided to study. But because I couldn't afford to just stop working and study full time, I actually studied my master's full time whilst working full time.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would work all day, leave the house at 7, be at the office by 8, leave the office at 5, go to the library for 1 hour till 6, then the lectures start, and then after the lectures at 9, I'll be in the library doing my assignments. Whilst everybody during the day is in the library doing their assignments.
Yeah, you have limited time because you were working.
Exactly. Then I get home at 11.
Right.
And then I'd start the same thing all over again the next day. And I did that for a year because I knew I wouldn't be able to further my career if I didn't have that master's. And as soon as I got my master's, I got a higher position job. So that really was a sacrifice for me, but it made all the difference. I mean, I know I told my friends, you're not going to hear from me for a year, don't invite me anywhere because I'm going to be living in the library. And that's exactly what I did, and I got it. But getting that master's really helped me to break through to the next level.
Move from one level.
So it's been a real journey for me, but still to this day, if anyone says, Glynnis, can you support with this? I'll try.
Right.
The most I can do is try. The worst thing that can happen is that it just doesn't work out. But I'd rather try than not try. And that has really taken me to so many places and so many forums and platforms globally. So yeah, I'm still on the journey, but it's been amazing so far.
Wow, I think impressive, you know. But I want to single out the point of volunteering because that's something I'd like us to talk about briefly. Because even at the university, even with educational systems, young people find it difficult or maybe not interested in volunteering. Many a time when once they have the college degree, they want to start working, they want to have the best car, they want to have the best phone. So tell us about volunteering nowadays when we have a lot of university students, very few jobs, and when you look for jobs, they'll tell you that we want someone with an experience. Tell us about how volunteering becomes handy.
So I think when the job market, you can look at it in two ways.
Okay.
Number one, if you don't know you have to know somebody in a certain place to get a job. If you don't know somebody, if you don't know somebody, you need the experience. That can speak for you when they see your name on an application form. And I had neither.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know I'm not the only one who didn't have that. And in that situation, you shouldn't look down on any opportunity to get your foot in the door. You shouldn't say, I'm too good to do this, to start my career like this. And that volunteering is what got me exposed and connected to people. Don't look at the salary. At first I was thinking, I have a degree, I should be earning lots of money now. You know, my days of suffering are over. No,
it doesn't look that way.
It's gradual. You're starting from the bottom. You're new in the field. Other people have been there for years, working, proving themselves. Whereas you're coming in as a fresh person who has to prove that what you learned, you know how to put it into practice. So what you can get from volunteering is far more than any salary or any stipend, because that experience will be with you for life, and nobody can take it away from you. And you can use that in any application going forward. But it's that starting point. So
it gets you going.
Exactly. That gets you going. So I advise everyone to try volunteering, even if it's for 3 months or 6 months. You know, there's so much that can be gained. Even if it's not the salary, the network, the fact that you're in that environment and you're connecting with people, you're listening to people, you're learning from people, or they're putting you in places that maybe you will not be if you applied for a different position. So that definitely is very, very, very beneficial and something that everybody really should be taking more seriously.
Now you work with, your work focuses on working with vulnerable people, right? And what has it been like working with vulnerable people?
It's really interesting because there are so many different things that make people vulnerable. I have experience of working with persons with disabilities. I have experience of working with older people. I have experience of working with young people. The lived experiences of vulnerable people is so different and unique in a normal context like this and in a humanitarian context like Ebola, or at the peak of COVID, those people not being forgotten when it comes to response and support is really, really critical. And my work with those people in different countries across East and West Africa has really opened my eyes to see actually that there's so much work that needs to be done. There's so many programs and projects taking place, but there are so many different vulnerable groups out there that need our support, who are often forgotten, who are often overlooked or stereotyped as being a certain way, but actually need to be remembered and need to be included when it comes to some of our development programs that we design and deliver.
You spoke about stereotyping. How big of an issue is stereotyping?
Of course, it's a very, very big issue. I mean, yeah, I mean, here we have the youth bulge. The majority of the population is young people, but there's very negative stereotypes about young people, which is the majority of the population.
Right.
And you would wonder why there would be so many negative stereotypes about the majority of the population and how that could even help society move forward. It can't, you know. So there are so many stereotypes, but we have to overcome them if we really want to achieve change that is inclusive of everybody.
Okay, so let's talk about your engagement with young people, because you interact with a lot of young people. And let's talk about that. How does it even look like?
Yeah, so I've worked for youth-led organizations, one of them being Restless Development in the past. I run my own youth organization called She Can, We Can, which is supporting young women in the area of professional development. And also for many years now, I've been a mentor to young people in the area of career development, especially with what I experienced, helping them to, you know, fast track their career. So my interaction with young people and impression of young people is that they are hungry and ready to work and to put their best foot forward, but there just don't seem to be enough opportunities. There seem to be more barriers than opportunities for young people. Number one, because of the stereotype. Number two, because there seems to be like a lack of trust in the confidence of the ability of young people and what young people can do. And I feel that these are the things that young people are constantly grappling with every day, trying to prove that no, I can I can add something meaningful to society. I can be good for your company or for your business or for your industry. So my interaction with young people has always been about helping them overcome that and be more and know that they can be more. Yeah. Okay,
so we'll hold it right there and we'll go for a short break. But once we come back, we'll look at the challenges you have faced or you're still facing when you work with young people. Because, however, even though the opportunities may be there, but there are a lot of challenges that you face working with the young people.
Certainly.
So I'd like to hold it there and we'll go for a short break and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Cummings John. We're discussing her professional career. We've been discussing her work around professional development, volunteerism and the likes in terms of also working with young people. So welcome again on the show, Madam Glynnis. Okay, so now let's talk specifically about the challenges you face working with a lot of young people.
So again, I think it's about the perception of young people and also young people understanding how to navigate their way through society's stereotypes and the barriers that are placed before them, understanding how to apply the knowledge that they've gained to help them push through and get to where they want to get to. Some of the challenges that I've seen young people experience, and also myself, you know, going through my career to where I am today.
So let's look at the aspect of mindset. Do you think young people in this part of the world really have the right mindset to take up responsibility?
They definitely do, and they are hungry for it. From what I have seen, they are hungry for it. You know, going to all 16 districts, I've seen the same thing across Sierra Leone. I've seen the same thing. People want the opportunity. It's just that the space needs to be opened up for them. And people also need to give them that chance to say, okay, well, let's try and let's see. You know, because that's how it was for me volunteering. That's how it was for me when I was put on international platforms. Let's see what she can do. But if nobody says, let's see what this young person can do, and they just say, oh no, that they cannot do it because of their age, they don't know what they're talking about, or because they're a nuisance to society, then there's that constant barrier, and they're never going to be able to break through. They're never going to be able to show what they have to offer and what they have to contribute. So yeah, it is challenging, but it's a constant, something that you have to constantly work at to get through to where you want to get to as young people trying to develop their professional career.
You mentioned about age. Age is another problem. Many a time when the older folks see young people who are capable, they tend to shy away from giving them responsibility. What do you think about that?
I don't agree with it. I really don't agree with it at all. I think it doesn't mean that you have to give them a big job title, but let them get their foot in the door somehow, and gradually build them up to where you want them to be, or how you would like them to be. But to totally shut the door and say no because of the age, is not a fair chance.
Right.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And one day, who are they going to hand over that industry to, that business to, that sector to? Who are the elder people in society?
If you don't train the younger generation.
Exactly. And at what point are they thinking about handing it over to them?
That's sensitive. So now let's look at, what do you think needs to be done in order to make the space attractive, the space competitive, and good for young people to thrive? What needs to be done?
I think every sector, every industry, every business, every organization needs to have a set number of internships and volunteering opportunities that they create for young people every year, to build their experience, to get their exposure in that sector or whatever industry it is. And that creates a constant flow of people who are graduating or people who've just got their certificate course to move into something else.
At least learn some professional aspects of life.
Exactly. Rather than so many people graduating every year and then they sit at home because there's not enough space. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay them a big salary. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to give them a big title, but they've stepped into the sector and they're growing and they're learning and they're also contributing to the sector's growth as well, and the economy as well.
Very, very, very sensitive. That's very true, because for me, I think this is what I know. We have a lot of young people, even at the university. We have a lot of young people we supply them to the labor market every year, and that number keeps accumulating every year.
Exactly.
You know, I was part of a program the other day, and one guy from the, I think, Chamber of Commerce, he said we have over 500,000 young people who are unemployed. I was like, really? And he said the number will increase if things are not done. So you see, the aspect of volunteering becomes very much sensitive. At least you give them the exposure. Many a time, you know, I work in the aspect of HR, and many a time young people normally ask me, why is it that we are fresh graduates and employers keep asking, what's your level of experience? So sometimes I tell them, if you volunteer at least in 6 months or within 9 months, you will tell an employer, yes, I have not been an employee of this institution, but trust me, I have volunteered.
Exactly.
So that will show for something.
Yes. So like, for instance, if a young person, they've finished their first year and they're waiting for the second year to start, volunteer in that gap, in that period. Don't go and sit at home or be just going around with your friends, which is what I did. Volunteer in that time frame. And then by the time you get to your second year, what they're teaching you have already got some basic experience of it, and you understand it even better. And by the time you finish that qualification, you can say, yes, I have the paper, but I also have some experience as well, which is what I didn't do, which is why I finished my degree and I sat at home for a full year, because I couldn't convince anyone through my applications that I knew what I studied.
And the job markets, employers want people with something, experience. It's important. So now let us move away from that and let's talk about, you're a career-driven woman, a professional. Well, one may want to know, what are some of your principles of life?
One of my principles is, one thing that I've already mentioned, is that don't shy away from any experience. No experience is bad experience. There are things that I jumped into, I said, yes, I'll do, that are really adding value to where I am today. There are times where I've had line managers who said, Glynnis, can you go to this country and do this? I've never been to that country. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do there. When I get there, I'll figure it out. And that experience that I've gained over the years has definitely helped me to where I am now. Today, I'm head of programs for a very large organization in Sierra Leone, international organization. And I wouldn't be in this position if I had not been building up all of that experience. Definitely one of my principles is that no experience is too small. Don't look down on any opportunity. Any opportunity that you see coming your way, grab it, because you don't know when you'll be able to say, okay, yes, I can do this, or this has been helpful for me because of that time where I got involved in this. The other thing is that you have to be determined to set your own identity. We spoke a bit about stereotypes. I am determined to be more than what society has called me to be as a woman and as a relatively young person in leadership. I refuse to live a life that is substandard I must fulfill every potential and every skill that I have. It must be put to good use.
Yeah.
So if society says, oh, you can only do this because, oh, you're this age, or you can only go to this place because you can't go to this place because you're a woman. No, I will push myself and I will prove that there is so much more that I have to give. So I definitely advise people to shape your own identity. Don't be limited by stereotypes, and you will see where you will end up.
Okay, that's very inspirational, more especially with as a young woman, and you've started from the bottom as a volunteer, like you rightly mentioned, move on to internship, and you got now to a position where in at least you can influence decisions, you can make decisions, whether structured or semi-structured. So I think I enjoyed the part of you explaining that from you as a volunteer to that point. So finally, what would be your word of advice to people watching the viewers watching the show, right from this country to the continent as a whole, globally? What would be your advice as a young person, started from the bottom, now at the top, making decisions? What would be your advice to young people watching this show?
Every situation that you have in your life, see it as an opportunity to grow. Don't look down on it, don't see it from a negative perspective, see it in a positive perspective and see that as an opportunity to grow professionally.
Okay, now before we leave you, the Meet Professionals platform, one of the things we do is to be able to connect professionals like you with the younger generation in order for them to tap from you, to learn from you, to see you as a role model, or for you to mentor them. So now we're asking if you are called upon anytime for you to talk to our audience to build the capacity of young people, will you be able to join us?
I will be more than happy to. It's my passion.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you heard it from Madam Glynnis Cummings John. We want to say a very big thank you for being part of the show this afternoon. So this is where we draw down the curtains for today's edition of the Meet Professionals edition. Now, before you go, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our videos if you want to have more regular updates. Thank you so much. This is how we leave you. We want to say take it easy and have a great day.